Salam, Shumuchel, Amiman Mayesha. These are some of the greetings in Tajiki. Salam is derived from Arabic, meaning peace, and Shumuchel means how are you, and Nomiman Mayesha means my name is Mayesha. So my personal background, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana originally, and now I'm a freshman at Georgetown University studying biochemistry, and I chose to study Tajiki because it utilizes the Cyrillic alphabet while also having 40% of Arabic influence in the room. So today I will highlight my personal experience in Tajikistan. First I will talk about my experience with my host family as Jack and Josephine did. I will elaborate on the religious views in Tajikistan. So here's my host family. It was pretty large when compared to the average American nuclear family, but pretty medium sized when you consider the typical family size in Tajikistan. As you saw with Josephine's family, her family was pretty huge. I had one grandmother. I called her Bibi John, and she's pictured in the left with the traditional headscarf. It's called a rumal in Tajikistan. She went to Hajj, or the Islamic pilgrimage, in 2015. My mother, who is pictured on the upper right with the peace sign, I called her Ochajon and Motajon, which means mother in Tajiki. Her name is Rano, and she was a pharmacist at Dorukhana, which means house of drugs, literally in Tajiki. And an interesting thing is a lot of the other stores and restaurants have typical names like that. Like a restaurant, for example, usually might have a name called Oshkhana, which means house of Osh. And my aunt, Zarguna, and I called her Apajon, she's pictured on the bottom right-hand side, and she lives at her brother's house, and she's stay-at-home sister. And it's kind of unusual for a woman her age, she's around her late 30s, to be unmarried and live at her brother's house, because usually women get married pretty early at like age 17 or 18. My brother, Bobojon, who's pictured on top of my aunt's head, and I had a sister, Mariam, who's pictured on the leftmost picture and the top right picture. My father's not pictured here, but his name's Firuz, and he's an economist. He said he worked at the Dushanbe International Airport. And so some activities that I did with my host family were that, like, my aunt would take me out for a walk with all the neighbors every single night. There was a Pakistani National Bank next to the Sheraton Hotel where I lived, and there was a patch of grass in front where it's quite rare to have grass in Tajikistan, especially in Dushanbe. So the kids would play a game where one person would be blindfolded and everyone would touch the victim until she or he catches, and then the tag player would be the next victim. My aunt would also take me to the opera Ballot, which is pictured behind me on the right, and it was a really neat experience because my aunt would take a lot of the neighbors with me who are 6 to 12 years of age, and in the opera Ballot there would be singers and musicians at night, and it was really fun to dance and sing to the songs, even though I didn't really understand it. So now talk about religion. The majority of Tajiks are Muslim and they follow Islam. However, a minority of Tajiks are also Russian Orthodox, Christian, or Jewish. There are a few synagogues and churches in Dushanbe, but I'm not really sure about the rest of the country. Sufism is a mystical sect of Islam, but Sufis, or the followers of Sufism, still believe in one God and the last prophet. Historically, Islam was spread by Sufis in Central Asia, especially through the Silk Road. The difference of Sufism is that they differ in the way of how they express their worship. Some Sufis dance or sing, but they also pray. Hazrati Mavlana, his name is Rumi in English, and he was a Persian poet, Islamic scholar, and an important Sufi leader, and they named a mosque for him, and we visited that mosque. And Shias are a different sect of Islam. It became split when the Prophet died. They wanted a leader who was part of the blood lineage of the Prophet. So Ismaili is a sect of Shiite sect of Islam, and there was a huge Ismaili mosque that we visited that was absolutely beautiful. And at the Ismaili Center, as they call it, there's only 6. It's one of 6 around the world. And Tajikistan's president, Emomali Rahman, he wants to fight extremism in Tajikistan, so he's implemented various laws, like women can only wear colorful clothing and traditional clothing for Islamic modesty, and not strictly black headscarves or black clothing. He restricted the length of beards, and he prohibited youth attending Friday prayers. However, these laws, they're not strictly enforced, but they're encouraged. When people think of Islam, one might think that Muslims adhere to following Islam the same way, but just like in any other religion, Muslims all follow Islam a different way. A lot of our host families followed Islam in many different ways. Some would pray, some wouldn't, some would fast, and some weren't religious at all. It just depended on what kind of you received. And another interesting thing about Tajikistan is that when I usually visit Muslim countries, they have the adhan or the call to prayer, but in Tajikistan, they actually prohibit the call to prayer there. And so Ramadan is from sunrise to sunset, where Muslims fast from sunrise to sunset, and we're not allowed to have food or drinks. I observed fasting with my family and at Camp Umeda, where we stayed for 2 weeks. And finally, after Ramadan, it's Eid al-Fitr, and in Tajikistan and in other cultures, people say Eid Mubarak, which literally means blessed Eid. And for the kids, it's really interesting because it's kind of, I haven't experienced this when I visited Muslim countries. It's like Halloween there, where kids go house to house for candies and other goodies. And usually, my family, we visited a lot of neighbors during Eid, and we ate a lot.